Good evening. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Newman City Council regular meeting, January 22nd, 2019. Would everyone please stand for the pledge of allegiance of the flag and remain standing for the invocation. Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you remain standing, please? Eleanor Roosevelt is quoted as having said, "Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people." Let's pray. Most gracious Father, we thank you tonight for the opportunity to serve our community. We pray your blessings on all assembled here tonight and those watching at home and everyone in our community. We've gone through a tough time, Lord, and we thank you for giving us the strength to continue on.
Yes.
In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mary. Can we have a roll call, please? Councilmember McDonald?
Here.
Graham?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Candia?
Here.
Day? Here. Mayor Martin? Here. 5, declaration of conflict of interest? None. There being none tonight. And we'll move on to item 6, with ceremonial matters, and the fire department recognition, promotions, and presentations of awards. So, Chief, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I would like to bring your attention to and recognize 2 outstanding individuals within the Newman West Stanislaus Fire Department. These 2 individuals have proven to their fellow firefighters that they will go over and beyond their call of duty. The first person I'd like to introduce is Firefighter Alex Diaz. Alex Diaz started with the fire department in July of 2016 as a fire explorer and became a firefighter in September of 2017. Firefighter Diaz, his dedication and commitment to the Newman community should be commended. His participation alone amounts to the equivalent of a paid full-time firefighter. Firefighter Diaz has maintained a participation ratio of 28% for 2018. This equated to 12 fires and 189 emergency medical services calls. Firefighter Diaz is also a full-time student at MJC and works part-time for 2 local companies. He also recently completed his training as an emergency medical technician. If you would please take this time and thank Firefighter Diaz for his commitment and dedication to the Newman Fire Department. The second person I'd like to introduce is Captain Jim Lagruda. Jim Lagruda started with the Newman Fire Department in December of 1984 as a firefighter. I won't have anyone raise their hand if they weren't born. He progressed through the ranks to captain, where he has been a mentor to many of the new firefighters. Captain Lagruda has a dedication and commitment to the Newman community that surpasses his fellow members. His participation alone amounts to the equivalent of 2 paid full-time firefighters. Captain Lagruda maintained a participation ratio of 44% for 2018. This equated to 21 fires and 298 emergency medical service calls. Captain Lagruda is the top performer for participation within the Newman West Stanislaus Fire Department. If you'd please take this time and thank Captain Lagruda for his commitment and dedication. I'll call you up in 1 second. All right. For the second part, at this time, I'd like to invite Battalion Chief Don Cabral up to the podium. He'll be recognizing 3 promotions within the Newman West Stanislaus Fire Department.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mayor, Councilman, and members of the community for us having tonight. We would like to We have 3 people that we're promoting tonight. Will you guys please come up, so I don't have to enter. Captain Anderson, Engineer Silva, and Victor's sister, Yvonne. Newman West South Fire Department would like to recognize 2 engineer positions. That'd be Victor Gill and Tony Silva, and 1 captain's position would be Captain Tony Anderson. These promotions are to fill recent vacancies that were created through attrition. The following promotions require hard work and dedication. Each position within the fire department comes with added responsibility and new training requirements. Each one of these candidates was required to complete established state and local command, tactics, and driver's training courses. For the first promotion tonight will be Captain Tony Anderson. Captain Anderson started his fire service career as a volunteer firefighter in 1995, shortly before getting paid full-time employment in 96. He has spent a lot of his career as an engineer, certified rescue technician, fire officer, and fire instructor. Captain Anderson started with the Newman West South Fire Department in September of 2017. He is honored and proud of his achievement. He looks forward to a long career serving his community and continued learning in an ever-changing fire service. He has been being pinned with his new badge today by his biggest supporter, fellow firefighter, and best friend, his wife, Jasmine Lynn Anderson.
Ferry guys in that one.
There you go.
Our second promotion tonight is for the rank of engineer. That'll be Mr. Anthony Silva. Engineer Silva started his fire service career as a volunteer back in Patterson in March of 1998. He is currently employed as a full-time correctional officer. He left the fire service for a short time to serve his country as a U.S. Army Airborne Ranger. His paramilitary background has proven beneficial to a fire service career. Engineer Silva looks forward to a long and successful career with the Newman and West Santa Claus Fire Protection District. I will be pinning his badge on tonight.
Yeah.
Good start, too.
We have an EMT in the house?
Our last promotion of the night will be for Engineer Victor Gill, and unfortunately tonight he was unable to attend due to school, but his sister Yvonne will be accepting his badge on his behalf. Engineer Gill became a volunteer firefighter in August of 2015. He is very thankful and appreciative to be part of the Newman community and West Santa Claus Fire Protection District. He appreciates all of his opportunities that have been given to him. He has learned a lot and met so many great people. He looks forward to being part of his department for a long time, creating new memories and expanding his knowledge. He hopes to continue to share his experience and education with the new generation of firefighters entering the department.
Yes.
Again, I would like to thank the city council, members of the community for the opportunity to recognize a few individuals for these great achievements. We look forward to our continued service to the Newman community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Chief, did you want to take a break at this time?
If you don't mind, there's some refreshments and.
Sure, we wouldn't mind at all. But, you know, it's really an honor to see you all here tonight. You know, God, you know, our fire department with the volunteers and what you guys do out there, you protect our city, you know, it's unbelievable, and we can't thank you enough for volunteering and being part of the fire department for Newman. But thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, you know, a lot of people don't know, and I'm saying this for the people at home that are watching, because the families do know, you volunteer, you on your own, you work a full-time job, and you come home and get up in the middle of the night and take off to go help other people, so it's a huge thing, and thank you guys for serving our community, and congratulations to all you guys. Thank you.
And I did that, and I want to just say this, is that I tell a lot of people who are family members of mine who come to visit us here in the city of Newman, first thing they ask me, how did you find this town way out here? But I tell you, and I tell all of my family and friends, is that when we hear a siren, there's something serious happening in Newman, because we very seldom hear it, and that means that you guys are doing your job, and I want to take this time to say thank you very much.
Okay, with that, we'll take a short break and have some refreshments.
Great.
I met the mayor at the 3-day conference in fact. Sacramento, the highest. But it's funny how I was going to be this team for this meeting. I was going to see those conference when I was speaking. So I looked at it and I said, no chance. So we talked out and got them. I'm here. What's up? Are we going to see him? All he won. Is he going to make it? Okay, we're about ready to begin. If anyone wants to leave before we reconvene, please feel free.
We'd love to have you stay. Okay, we're going to start with number 7. It's items from the public, non-agenda items. Anyone would like to speak to the council, please go to the podium, state your name and address for the record. And this lovely lady is going to tell us about the library.
I have a little extra pizzazz today. Thank you for having me here tonight.
Thank you for coming.
And as he mentioned, I am from the library. My name is Sophia Petrakis, and we've had lots of programs going on at the library. Today, we had glow-in-the-dark story time. Most of the story time was lights off. We had black lights. We had flashlights. We made stars on the ceiling. Lots of screaming. Lots of fun. And last week, we had the Oculus Rift. It's a virtual headset, transport you to different worlds. You can visit anywhere on the globe and like zoom in and zoom out, see different castles. You can see the pyramids, the Eiffel Tower, and also some games. There were some carnival games, a Spider-Man one, and you actually got to interact with the images using hand sensors and then your virtual headset glasses. Wow. So that was really fun, and I'm hoping we can get that back and get more teens into the library, because that's like their age group. And we had a lot going on in November and December. Even without story time in December, we still had some edible crafts, because who doesn't love candy canes and marshmallows during the holidays? And coming up in February, we're going to continue our story time on Wednesdays at 10. We will have stay and play right after, toys and music for children 0 through 5, just to help with their development and learning and interaction with each other. We'll have Lego Day every other Thursday, and we're going to do a few different Valentine's Day themed programs. We will have Candy Heart Catapults, teach the kids about projecting objects as far as they can in height and how fast it'll fall. We'll do marble magnets with thumbprints on the magnets, and we'll have them do 3, so it'll be I love you. And in March, we're going to have a Dr. Seuss birthday party week. That's coming up, exciting. We'll have snacks and games and hide the cat in the hat around the library and just have a ton of fun. And we couldn't do that without our friends of the Newman Library, who are our supporters, who do fundraising and book sales to earn money so we can do these programs. And our volunteers come and help us out for setting up the programs. They also clean around the library. They clean the toys off for the kids. They do a ton of work for us. And it really is just a great place for families to be, seeing children help other children out with a project, helping them glue things or cut things out, and just watching the children learn together, and then seeing parents help their children and other children who need help. And it's just great to see that. Thank you.
That's wonderful. How many children do you normally get involved in a project like that?
Depending on the project, we've been hitting in the 50s for our edible crafts. Our story time's been staying close to 30. And like our slime programs, like we had, those hit 100. And our Harry Potter party hit 131.
Wow.
So,
That's amazing. Yeah, that's really great. So, well, thank you.
thank you so much.
Makes me wish I was a kid again.
Well, you know what? We have programs for adults as well. We try to include everyone. For our summer reading challenge coming up, we have prizes for children, for teens, and adults. We do gift baskets, the community donates, the grill donates, gift certificates to go eat there, and we have gift certificates for massages and manicures. So there's things for us too. You just have to read a book and submit a review, and your name gets entered into the drawing for it.
That's great.
Have you ever thought about maybe talking to the city manager and doing something for the summer for the whole city?
We will have to discuss some plotting in the future. Good idea.
Good.
All right.
Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, this is...
Anybody else?
Anybody else like to speak? There's a gentleman there, then you can follow him, sir. I think there's... Well, we won't fight it out. One at a time. Okay. State your name and address for the record. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll look official. My name is Chris Walton. I'm actually from Gustine, Post Commander, Post 240. You may or may not have noticed the banners that we have along Main Street down there. It's a little bit larger version of these. They're actually 3 foot by 6. I'm getting an increasing number of Newman kids that are in my print queue for the banners, and we'd like to start bringing these up to Newman where they belong. Our program, we refer to it as Yellow Ribbon Program, and what it is, we recognize the kids that are currently serving in the military, and our programs run strictly off donations. We don't charge the parents or the families for these banners at all. Like I said, I currently have 8 in the queue that are at the printers right now, 4 of which are Newman kids. We'd also like to do, with the police chief's permission, something similar to this to commemorate Corporal Singh. Only a blue line flag. We don't want to step on anybody's toes, but we've been discussing this at our meetings, and we'd kind of like to do something like that too. So if the only thing that we would ask of the city is potentially we provide the banners, the mounting brackets, and the city could put them up, and they fit really nicely on the light poles. Pretty low maintenance. I've only got one banner down on the Main Street down there in Gustine right now that's kind of skewed, but that was right after a windstorm. Easy to fix. So if I can provide the banners and the brackets, won't cost the city anything but a little bit of man hours, and
Well, we can't take any action tonight, but we'll
Oh, yeah,
certainly
of course.
review it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll, because it's looks like it's a great project.
It's really good.
Tomorrow morning, the city manager will call you.
We actually have a Yellow Ribbon Facebook page, and
Yeah.
it's pretty nice, 'cause it's almost like a support group for the parents.
Yeah.
And what we do,
That's an
when time
excellent
and personnel permit, when the kids come back from deployment or from basic training, major training functions, we go to the house, we present them with the Soldier's Creed or an Airman's Creed. We put up a bunch of yellow ribbons, American flag ribbons, just kind of welcome them home. We've got some other projects in the wings with the Legion Riders to give them escorts and stuff like that, but this is kind of an ongoing, it's very dynamic, and it's growing exponentially. My wife and I started this about 2 years ago with little banners in the hall, and it kind of went out. Now we got 3x6 banners. We have 21 currently displayed up and down Fifth Street in Gustine. And I expect this to continue to grow. We've got, actually got the Newman, I've actually heard from the Newman Lions Club, who also want to donate towards the banners. We got a giant donation from the Gustine Lions Club. We've got the Rotary Club. A lot of people have been, they've really embraced this program, and it's really nice to see the community come together and show some appreciation for the kids that are serving. So,
Well, that's great. Thank you.
you're welcome. Any questions, feel free. I'm on the web, I'm hanging
Okay.
envelopes, and everything.
Thank you so much for bringing that to us tonight. And with that, is there anyone else out there would like to speak to the council? Oh, okay, there we are. Just gentlemen.
The name's Welterweight. I live at 508 Waxwing Lane. I represent the city of Newman on the Measure L Oversight Committee. We meet 4 times a year supposedly. We missed one last year because like your one meeting, you couldn't get a quorum. Mr. Holland made me look good up there because I was the only one out of 8 cities and the county representatives that had any information on roads and where money was going to be used. But then I looked bad because we don't have any publicity on, so that the voters know where their money is going. They kept bragging about Turlock with the Main Street where they put the curbs on the center divide and a little bit of asphalt about like that. I still bump over the road when I go up there, longer turnoffs, but they had signs out that this was Measure L money. There was a big publicity about the cloverleaf, and I'm lousy on pronouncing words, so it's the cloverleaf, the turnoff north of Main Street's turnoff. And they broke ground. This gentleman there representing our county was there, and they took pictures, and it was a lot of publicity. Measure L. So it was suggested that we all go back to our city councils and have them maybe get something into the local papers or something when we do something on a road, or the transportation for veterans to the VA hospital and all, that comes under Measure L, that we let the public know that we are spending the money on Measure L where it's supposed to go. And I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we love Measure L.
And Mayor, just FYI, during construction and even for probably a period of 60 days afterwards, there were plenty of signs up that were saying that this project is funded by Measure L and SB1, as well as our local newspaper. The problem, though, is as Walton knows, people in Modesto and Turlock don't ever come to Newman, so they wouldn't have known that we had signs up for 60 days, all through the construction period and 60 days afterwards. So, but I want to thank Walt for stepping up and sitting on that committee for us and doing that representation. Thank you.
Well, I'm sorry, but I didn't see the signs, and I ran up and down.
Well, like I said, we did the construction about 60 days afterwards. We took them down, but thank you.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you all very much.
I gotta go home, see my dog, she don't let me do it.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Juanita Gillard. I reside at 553 Marquez. I'm currently the pastor at Simply Grace Fellowship in Gustine. I am not here in the capacity of pastor, but I am here in the capacity of chair for the Religious Affairs Committee for the NAACP. And this is actually for you, Chief Richardson. This is a resolution for Corporal Ronell Sill. Please, we understand it's late. Charge it to our heads and not our hearts, okay? If you don't mind, I'd like to read it to you, and it says a proclamation. To the Police Department of Corporal Ronell Singh, we extend our sincere sympathy and words of comfort during your season of grief. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. John 14:3. We, the members of the Modesto Stanislaus Branch 1048 of the NAACP, acknowledge and recognize the will of our Creator to call into His presence your beloved brother, Corporal Ronell Singh. We lift you and your police department before the Lord and pray that you will be filled with His healing spirit. To the department, remember our Creator loves you and is always near to comfort you during this season of loss. We, the Executive Committee, and members of the Modesto Stanislaus Branch 1048 of the NAACP are standing in the gap for you today, praying that the Creator will grant you peace and the peace that passes all understanding. We resolve that the life and legacy of Corporal Ronell Singh will be embraced and remembered by those he has touched and inspired. Be it resolved that we bow in humble submission to the will of our Creator who knows what is best. We extend to you our heartfelt sympathy and commend the police department and friends to Him who can heal all sorrow and hurt. We resolve that we are here for you and your police department during this season of loss. We further resolve that this copy of resolution be presented to the Newman Police Department, and a copy shall be placed in the official records of the Modesto Stanislaus Branch 1048 of the NAACP. Done by the order of the President and Executive Committee of the Modesto Stanislaus Branch Unit 1048 of the NAACP, dated the 3rd day, January 2019, humbly submitted by our President, Wendy Bird. Please understand also that a copy has already been sent to his family. Thank you so much. Okay, we want you to know that we appreciate your efforts, we appreciate what you do, and we understand it's a hard job.
Thank you.
Okay, but we are here for you.
Thank you.
Okay, your sorrows are ours, your joys are our joys as well.
Thank you.
Okay, be blessed.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, we're running out of people. So I'm going to say it once more. If anybody would like to speak to the council, please go to the podium, state your name and address for the record. No one.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to consent calendar. A, waive all readings of ordinance and resolutions except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes of December 11th, 2018 meetings. D, adopt resolution number 2019, a resolution approving the statement of investment policy for the city of Newman. E, adopt resolution number 2019, next number, a resolution rejecting the late claim of Kim Jellin. F, approval of a city of Newman Award Program and Medal of Honor Award. And those are.
I move that we approve the consent calendar as well.
Okay.
So I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you. And 9 is a public hearing. There's none tonight. We'll move on to 10, regular business. A, first reading and introduction of ordinance number 2019, next number, ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newman, adding Chapter 4.25, Universal Design for Residential Dwelling, to Title 4 Building and Regulations of the Newman Municipal Code. Justin, is this yours tonight?
This is mine. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council.
Okay.
Before you tonight, as you just stated, you have a ordinance looking to add a universal design for residential dwelling section to the Newman Municipal Code. This comes from the 2015 Newman Housing Element that set forth several goals, policies, programs, and objectives. And for the period between the current adopted plan and the next adopted plan, there are several programs in there. And one of the programs, Program H-10, was that the City of Newman will implement universal design. Universal design is the design of products and residential environments to be usable by all people to the greatest extent possible. The concept behind universal design is that if desired, a new residence can be built with certain design features that will make living in the home easier for someone with limited mobility, strength, or functionality. Such features include door handles that are easier to grip, doorways that are wider and easier to navigate through, electrical outlets that are located higher on the wall and easier to reach, and grab bars in bathrooms and showers to provide stability and support. The proposed universal design ordinance requires that projects of 20 or more residential units would be subject to these universal design requirements. There are no mandatory to install items within this ordinance, but there are several mandatory to offer items that home buyers may purchase as an option from the developer or the builder. And the complete list of those mandatory to offer items are listed as attachment number 2 to the staff report. So with that, staff is available for any questions you might have.
Okay, the universal design would be negotiated between the developer, I guess, and the homeowner. Is that correct?
Correct. When somebody was looking to purchase a brand-new house, prior to it being constructed, the developer would have to hand them this list of mandatory to offer items, and the purchaser of the house could go through and check off items on that list that they'd like to have installed, and then the developer would say, okay, it's going to cost X amount more for me to install all those items in the house, and it becomes a negotiation between the buyer and the developer for those items.
Thank you. Any other questions for the council? Being none? Okay. Before I bring it back to the council, I'm going to ask if anyone would like to speak to the subject.
Hello, Carrie Thompson, 737 Black Mountain Lane. I'm also a member of the Newman Planning Commission. And in reviewing the ordinance as it is, I had a couple of questions and things to maybe for the council to consider. In the analysis, it's stated that the proposed universal design ordinance requires projects of 20 residential units or more, including duplex and triplex units, to meet the universal design requirements. When I took a survey of the current development here in town, we have, at least as a member of the Newman Planning Commission, I'm aware of a development approved on T Street, which was, I apologize, I don't have exact numbers. I want to say 10 units, 10 plots or less. Hoyer Road also had a smaller than the required statutory number of units built. Or Stimba Road also had upcoming development of less than 20 residential units, and only the Monarch home development here in Newman on Red Lion Way, I believe, I want to say that I counted, I know it was over 20. I want to say near 40. My apologies for not being quite correct on that. My question to the council was, if we're going to have universal design and ask that developers come in and provide these opportunities for the homeowners to purchase these plots with the proposed amenities included, if it's less than 20 properties, then they are not required to let these homeowners know of their option to maybe upgrade their properties to be of universal design. With the current, the way that a lot of the population is going, we're all aging, and I don't see that senior housing or the affordability of universal design actually falling in the future. I wonder why we would limit things to 20 units or more when we have 1, 2, 3 out of 4 current properties or current developers in town fall beneath those limits. I wonder why we would, so in the future, if we were to want to need to sell properties who lie within other existing developments that didn't quite sell out, as with some of our developments here in town, why would one homeowner who would bear the cost, no matter what the other structure was, they would bear the cost of this upgrade and benefit possibly from the information that they could upgrade to be more universally defined, why we would allow just those that have more than 20. Usually, when developers come in, they come in and develop a large number of lots, and then some people may come in or hold properties to later develop for their benefit. Why would we allow one person to buy a property when their neighbors on either side had the option to have this universal design? I don't necessarily, it isn't at a cost to the city. The cost of this universal design option is completely borne upon the purchaser, and I don't know why we would cut it off at 20. Not that I want to see any added stress be put on either party, but I would like for all parties involved to be aware of what your options are. And being somebody who's looking into my senior years soon, I would like to think that when I bought a property, being so partial to Newman as I am, I would like to know, well, what could I do to extend my life here? And anyway, that's my point. I'm not quite sure why we're at 20 when 3 of the 4 current developers in town are far less than that. They're at 8 and 10 properties each. And it's just my point to bring that to your attention.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you
time.
very much.
Thank you.
And Justin, I think you wanted to make the comment.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. This ordinance before you was based on a template that was provided by the Department of Housing and Community Development from the state. So they came up with that 20 number. Now, you are welcome to change this if you like to a different number. So that's well within your realm to do that.
That was their number that they came up with.
Yes, correct.
Is this retroactive?
No, this would be for new construction.
Okay, the only new construction that we're currently contemplating are the few lots that are already have been set aside and Northwest Quadrant. Why do we even need this regulation?
This is something that was put on cities by the state. It was done as an assembly
Is this
bill.
a mandatory requirement from the state?
This is a mandatory requirement from the state.
But the state inserted this language into our housing element that would require us to adopt this ordinance.
What if
As
we
Justin's correct, you can add whatever number you want, if you want to use 20 or if you want to use 10. Just as a point of clarification, I think there's some discrepancy here. We've only had 2 developments recently, and that would be T Street property, which is 10, and then the one off of Real, which is about another 8 or 9. But all the other projects, if they would have been developed after this, Hearthstone, So Monarch is a builder, but that project is part of a larger project, so they would have been subject to it. So you can anticipate all of Northwest Quadrant, all future development would be subject to it, yeah. But anything approved to date is what's under a vesting tenant track map, I mean, their criteria is already locked in place.
If I could go so far as to kind of tie into that, my thought is more that in the future, not necessarily in the near future, but say we were to find ourselves again to where a developer wasn't able to sell 10, 15, 20 plots of land, and that is then sold to another developer, that developer should have to
And they would,
offer the
Terry.
same.
They would be subject.
Because it's all part of a bigger project.
It's all part of the bigger
So it wouldn't be
project.
split off as
No.
It's all part of
Because it's all part of the bigger
a
project.
different developer then.
Yeah, so many times what happens is the project may start with 150 lots, but he may sell 20 to this guy or 50 to this guy. They're all 150 would be under this requirement because.
How many existing developments are you aware of that are under that 20 property mark? So, like I said, I know of at least 3 that have,
Two.
that are.
We don't have a Johnson Road, we don't have a Black Mountain. We have one off of Real, where there was a conversation about, remember, the 2-story versus the 1-stories? And we have T Street. The only other paper project we have right now is on Prince Road, the Souza development.
Right.
Matos Ranch is what it's called.
Right.
But those are the only other ones that, and those wouldn't be applicable because they're already approved.
Right.
So they wouldn't be done. But as far as Carrie's speaking, we've only had 2 projects probably in the last 10 or 12 years or more that are under 20.
Yes. And I agree that they're all in different parts of development. But anyway, my whole point was to you as council that I don't know why, if you had an opportunity for people to buy property within an existing thing, and it could be that they would already be obligated to honor the Universal Design Code by original plan, I just wanted to make sure that we're serving all of our future residents with equal opportunity to have an equal opportunity for quality of life in these things that they would then contribute to in their homes as they were developing, because this particular ordinance is only to provide them with the information that these things are optional. These aren't costs borne upon the developer other than to provide the information, and that was my point. I just want to see everybody having the equal opportunity to have a home that would be under, I think the universal design is a good thing, and I just want to see it not limited to developments over 20 properties when we have some that are under that threshold currently, and those residents could possibly benefit from the option to improve their property at time of build. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
the way I see it, usually if it's under 20 houses, they're usually semi-custom anyways, aren't they?
T Street will be, but Fig, the one off, I think it's Fig, or Real Court. And they extended out the one off of Real probably would not be.
Gotcha.
But T Street is designed to be semi-custom, so again, our planning department and I worked this out together. We just follow the template that was provided by the state. That's a number, that's an arbitrary number that the council can decide on what's appropriate.
Well, as Carrie pointed out, I mean, it's just options on a house, right? That's all, that's the way I read it, and that's the way I'm understanding it. Is this just an option? So it's just saying a builder that says, hey, you have to give these people this option if they want to add, bars in their bathroom, you have to be able to say, yeah, we'll install them.
And that's the cost of the purchaser, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're going to pay for it.
Well, the only impact then, as I understand it, would be the northwest quadrant. Nothing else in town that's existing would be impacted by this.
Currently, but there'll be future small lots as you go on.
Potentially, Councilmember Day, potentially there could be some other sites that aren't developed right now that could come in with a map and say, and only be under 12 lots or something like that, that could be the approval. So while there are not any that are currently entitled or in the pipeline that this would affect, we do have properties in our community that could still potentially be subdivided.
Okay, all right. I wanted to be sure I understood that. Well, since this is the first reading, we're going to have another cut at this, is that correct?
Yes, and I guess what we would ask as the planning department is, if you, now would be a good time to give us some direction in terms of if you wanted us to change that number, and look at a different number, you could provide guidance to us as the planning department now. You do have a public hearing at your next meeting and make that decision then, but we're going to take your lead and follow.
Yeah.
Why don't we just say all units? And that solves the problem.
And this is optional stuff anyway, right?
Right. It's all optional, and it's up to the buyer whether they want to
pay for it, the buyer's gonna pay more money.
Seems like a waste to me for the city, or for the county, or state to, whoever it was, that declared that we have to put this in our ordinances. It's such a childish thing.
But wouldn't be going to all kind of mess up somebody that was building a single dwelling?
Well, if someone's building semi-custom, they're going to be designing it anyway. So if you're building one house, it's probably not going to be applicable because it's not, someone's semi-custom and coming in with the current design. It's more production type builders that are out there, so.
And it's just a declaration of what options the buyer has.
Correct.
It has no mandate that anything has to be added to the structure. It's purely a buyer option.
It's still gonna have to, within code.
And if you're building a custom house, you're already doing that anyway.
Well, but do you have to provide certain stuff if you're building a custom home? If I'm building a custom home and there's this here, do I have to pay somebody to write up something to say that my builder's offering this stuff to me when it's not necessary? Or if I'm building, like...
We would take it that if you're working a semi-custom house, you pretty much have already told them exactly what you want in it anyways. Yeah. So that would be...
And all those things are basically out of the, I need a permit type thing, to where they don't have to look if this is already option for them, they don't have to look in terms of saying, I need a permit or an inspector to come in to say, because it's dealing with senior citizens, am I correct?
Yeah, so here's what we're really talking about here. If it's a semi-custom, this list would probably apply, because generally in a semi-custom area, they have a few plans that are really nice, and then you just add a lot of the extra details. It's a fully custom that you're talking about, that's a one-off house, that's unique in and of itself.
This is not a senior citizen project.
No, it's not, but I'm just saying, is give the senior citizen the option to say, if I want a pole.
That more handicap or a variety of just anybody.
Right.
It doesn't matter. If the council so desires and said that, let's just say that they said that they wanted on all of them, we would just create a form that the builder would sign, and we'd put it in the file that they provided a checklist to them. It could be done with a single paper and a signature as part of the building permit process, if that's so what the council desires.
I would recommend then that we direct the planning office to change that number to all.
This is the first reading. Is there anyone else would like to speak to this subject tonight? If not, then I'm going to bring it back to the council for direction.
Can we look in to see if, I don't know, I don't want a single house builder to get affected, like, that they have to provide something. I know you explained that. I just want to make sure that, like, if I bought a piece of land, I'm building 2 custom houses on it, that now I have to provide documentation and all this stuff to the 2 people I'm building the houses for, of this stuff that's going to cost me as a builder more money.
Yeah, what I would tell you, council member, is...
Another loop to jump through, basically.
Yeah, we would just create a form that you would sign
Okay.
as you pulled your permit that said, I provided I certify under perjury that I provided the universal design options to the owners of this property.
Okay. Make it all.
I concur.
I recommend we approve the first reading and introduction of ordinance number 2019, next to number, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newman and adding Chapter 4.25 Universal Design for Residential Dwellings to Title 4 Building Regulations of the Newman Municipal Code with the direction to change the number 20 to all.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you. Moving on to B, adopt resolution number 2019, next number, a resolution declaring an emergency requiring suspension of competitive bidding requirements, authorizing agreement with Santee and NorCal Pump and Well Drilling, Inc. for the construction of Well 6R and authorizing city manager to execute said agreements.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, thanks, me. Good evening.
The item before you asks for an emergency declaration to suspend competitive bidding requirements, which will allow us to drill well 6 and get it operational before weather starts changing and the demand for water increases. During the winter, we have some spare wells, and so it's not a critical stage right now. As soon as a few sunny days hit, everybody will start watering, and the increase of demand water will be demanded, and then if we don't get well 6 done, then we won't have enough water to serve everyone. If you remember, back in 2017, the end of 2017, we replaced the bowls and the pump and the column pipe, cleaned the well, put a sand separator, and that rehabilitation worked for several months. And then well 6 started pumping fine sand again. And so we called a hydrologist with Stantec out that we work with closely, and they advised us that the best course of action would be do a test well, and you approved that in October, and that test hole was drilled, and that information was used to develop the design for the replacement of well 6, which is well 6R. It's critical that we get this done. That's why we're asking for you to declare an emergency. We compared the quote that we got from NorCal Drilling to several other wells that were drilled for other agencies and ourselves. We just had a bid come in for well 10, very, very similar, and then with some construction management and the design. The total for this project would be $794,000 and $372. $794,372. That includes a 20% contingency, because when we start working out there, if we find something that we need to change or add, we don't want to have to come back to you because it'll be in an emergency situation. If we don't spend the contingency, we'll save that 20% and it won't come out of the budget. This project will require a budget amendment. We'll transfer money from the Water Capital Fund, and that'll be done with a mid-year budget amendment. Staff recommends that you approve and adopt resolution next to number, declaring an emergency that requires a suspension of competitive bidding requirements, and then approve agreements with Stantec and NorCal Pump and Well Drilling, Inc. for the emergency construction of Well 6R, and authorize the city manager to execute the said agreements, which are attached. And I'll answer any questions.
The fine sand that's in the system now is not going into the public
Well 6,
distribution.
well 6 has been off since we discovered fine sand pumping the last time. It's out of service and has been, and we're lucky that it's in winter. Otherwise, we may be explaining why we have fine sand in the system.
Right. How far away from the existing well is the new 6R going to be?
It's about 40 feet. It's on the same lot. It's right there on the corner of Yellow and T Street. That's well 6. And so outside the building, this project includes extending the fence around the new well site and then relocating all the equipment, which we're lucky enough we're going to be able to use that, which hopefully when we start pulling it out, we don't find something that we have to switch. And then also it'll include a little building over the motor to protect it from the weather and people.
Okay.
We did the test drilling, and what they found as we did zonal sampling going down, they found a good aquifer that's giving good samples with minimal contaminants that will be able to put the screens at those locations and pull water that'll meet water quality standards.
Good luck. I hope we get water.
Me too.
Yeah, anyway, any other questions from the council? Anyone out there would like to speak to the council about this project? If not, I'm bringing it back to the council for direction.
I move that I adopt resolution 2019, next number, a resolution declaring an emergency requiring suspension of competitive bidding requirements, approving an agreement with Stantec and NorCal Pump and Well Drilling Incorporated for the construction of well 6R and authorizing the city manager to execute said agreements.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you very much, Catherine.
Thank you. I'll update you on the next meeting.
Go get that water.
Oh, yeah.
That's liquid gold, we call it. Moving on to C, authorizing hiring of second police officer recruit position.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take this one. As we discussed, the last quarter of last year, hiring police officers is becoming more and more difficult. So after having some conversations with the chief and I, we came to you and asked you if we could hire a police recruit position and sponsor that person and put them through the academy. You agreed that you thought that was a good way of moving forward and getting new police officers into our community, and you authorized us to go ahead and pursue that. We opened that up and started off with 11 interviews, and then we did some physical agility testing, and then ultimately we got into a chief's interview that he was nice enough to allow me to sit in on. And after those interviews and some conversations with the chief and I, we actually found two candidates that were really strong candidates that we thought would fit well within our department. And so with your approval, we'd like to offer 2 police recruit positions to each one of those candidates, provided they pass the psych and the background, and I think they've already done the background, so just psych and the medical, and put them through the academy. They would go through the academy from March until August, and then become officers. If you so approve the 2 police recruit positions, we would then take our sworn officers from 12 back to 13. We were at 13 before the economy fell, and then we've dropped to 12.
Yeah.
If you approve the second recruit position, we would go to 13 positions, and then try to reinstitute a downtown officer. I don't know, some of you were here when we had the downtown officers that worked with the businesses and provide a little bit of, security patrol in that area, and went in and talked to the business owners and things like that. And one of the officers or recruits that the chief and I talked about, we thought would be a good fit for that position. So this year's budget would increase about $25,000 to take care of some of that. And then the cost of a full-time future officer is about $90,000 to $92,000 a year. So that's a cost that you would see it ongoing, not just this year, but as we start going into 19, 20, 2021, that's an ongoing cost that we're going to carry forward with you guys. So We wanted to bring that back to you. This does not represent a replacement for Corporal Singh. We'll do a separate recruitment for that. This is entirely not the same situation. That'll be a different recruitment. We'll be looking more for a lateral probably on that, or someone who's already gone through there. We can't be down that many officers for that period of time, so. So with that, I can answer any questions that you may have.
So, Michael, I think it's a great idea because, we have to get pretty creative because getting officers is not the easiest thing to do, so I certainly would be in favor of it. I don't know what the rest of the council.
And the chief feels very comfortable with that?
Yeah, we came to this conclusion together. We both sat through the process together. We both interviewed the candidates together, and we came out of those interviews feeling the same way. It was like, man, we got some tough decisions to make, and so we said, before we went too far, we just said, let's do some backgrounds on the first two, see where they're at, see if one of them fall off or not. They both kind of moved through there pretty well and didn't have any issues that would prevent us from moving forward into the psych and medical portion of it. And then we had that conversation again, and we decided that, you know what, maybe this is the opportunity that we see here, because we think both would be good fits for our community. And so with that, when you sponsor someone through, we're hoping that brings some allegiance to our community and some of the other things that go on there. So together we making this recommendation to you.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the council? Move that we authorize the hiring of a second police officer recruit position.
I second that.
Absolutely.
We got 3 seconds. Anyway,
Absolutely.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you. That's great. Moving on to item 11, items from District 5, Stanislaus County Supervisor, Mr. Jim D. Martini. Good evening, Jim.
Welcome to the friendly city of Newman.
Yeah.
Hey, good evening, Mayor Martini, members of the council, and staff. I have a few things for you tonight. First of all, I got notified by the county this morning that the Hills Ferry bridge over the San Joaquin River has got some significant seismic problems. We were going to retrofit this. I remember reporting that to you in the past. This bridge is in so bad a shape now it has to be removed and replaced. So this is going to cost really a lot of money, but anyway, it has to be done. We're not able to fix the bridge. So the construction has been pushed back to 2022. Well, this
Bridge is falling apart, so we're going to wait.
Well, it hasn't collapsed yet, so. If you really want to go over a dangerous bridge, go over the 7th Street Bridge. Right now, I don't know what the rating of this bridge is, but a perfect strong bridge has got a rating of 100. The 7th Street Bridge has a rating of 2. And, we've had parts of the bridge fall off the 7th Street Bridge into the Tuolumne River last year. We are replacing that bridge. Well, this one, if it was really ready to go over, it'd be one thing. But sometimes, whether it's a bridge or a car or anything else, it just gets to the point where it isn't worth fixing it anymore, and you just have to replace it.
I'm sorry, Jim.
So I
didn't mean to jump on you like that.
That's okay. Sometimes you just can't fix it. I just got notified of that today. I thought everything was just fine with that bridge, but apparently it's not. Also, the Public Works has got on their schedule to replace a water main on West Mariposa Road. This is paid for through a grant to connect 13 homes that are in the county to Newman's existing water service. That project is expected to begin anytime this spring 2019. So I would imagine that would be very quickly since the money is already there. So that's a county project. I guess what the plan is to build it, connect the houses to your system, and then give that line to you. And so it will be yours. As far as the Crow's Landing Air Base, we're gradually moving forward with that. I was told that the RFP for engineering will probably be on the agenda next week. I don't know, it's next week or the week after for sure. And this is a RFP for designing the storm drainage and Bell Road and a few other things. Although that airbase looks like it's flat, it's not. There's 80-foot slope from the south to the north, being the north is on the low side. So there has to be a lot of engineering done of what we're going to do with the storm drainage water. So that's what this RFP is about. We're soliciting bids from engineering companies that will design this for us. Not build it, but design it. So anyway, that'll be the very first thing done. We hope to actually start within a year, once we get all the engineering done, because there's a lot that has to be done before you stick your first shovel in the ground. I mean, that airbase, has no water, it has no sewer system hooked up, it has really no real roads going through it, it doesn't have any storm drainage, it doesn't have any electricity, and all that stuff's got to be brought in before we can ever really start with the business park. Okay, in other news, the West Side Healthcare Task Force will meet on February 7th. That's our next meeting. It will be at 6 o'clock in Patterson at the Hammond Senior Center. So that's just in a couple of weeks. There's been some reminders that have went out. The agenda will go out just within a few days. And at that meeting, we'll be working on what projects we'd like to do for next year. We solicit, any kind of public input. We also will begin to plan the next health summit, which hopefully could be here in Newman. We have a proposed date of June 20th. That doesn't have to be June 20th. We'll have to start somewhere and see if the theater, first of all, if we can use the theater, and if it's available on June 20th in the evening. We found that the evening programs went a little bit better than the afternoon ones, because people have to get back to work. And we do the Biggest Loser weight loss contest, which is kind of better suited for people just coming at 5 o'clock and weighing in and not having to worry about getting back to work. So anyway, we'll be beginning planning on that February 7th, along with all our other projects that we're doing, art and essay contest, West Side Walks, and any other projects. And I have a list of them there for board approval. And the last thing I have is, unfortunately, and I don't know the reason why, but my Veterans Commissioner from Newman has resigned. There was no explanation given to me of why that person resigned. So there is an opening right now. You have to be a veteran in District 5, so it could be Patterson also, or even in Ceres. And so if any veteran is interested in being on the Veterans Commission, you can just let me know. So we have an opening. You can pull the application off the web. That's what I'm told. I wouldn't know how to do it myself, but I know you can do that. Okay, well, that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
No? Any questions today?
No, thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, thank you.
And with that, we'll move on to item 12, items from the city manager and staff.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. As you know, it's been a tough month for the community and for our PD, and on December 26th, Corporal Ronald Singh was serving our community and was called to service, and unfortunately, during that call to service, he was shot and killed by an illegal alien. It's been heavy on all of our hearts for the last month. As a staff, we've been challenged because we're a small community and we know Ron really well, and it's a department, it's been even harder because they see him all the time, as opposed to us at City Hall, who just saw him, infrequently, but enough. But it's been tough on our community. But with that being said, we've had a tremendous amount of support from our sister agencies, and I know we went to the Board of Supervisors and told them, and then Jim's here tonight, but Stanislaus County, the Sheriff Christensen, and the Dirksey, and I know the chief knows all the guys in the background, that did the investigation that led to the capture of this guy. It's been tremendous, the support they gave us, even from the CEO's office, to help a lot of us, the planning of the funeral. The city of Modesto has been a tremendous support. I mean, the sheriff's office came and covered our streets so that our officers could grieve and go through practices and, attend funeral services and get right so they get back out on the street. And that was, they didn't have to do that. They came to us and volunteered that, and it's, that is not lost on us that we're here and live through that. Again, the city of Modesto and their police department and Sergeant Doug Ridenauer, he had his own family tragedy he was going through. In the meantime, he was also helping us meet our needs and the support. I went to a funeral planning meeting. There's 40-plus people there. I mean, they had to bring in more chairs in one of their largest conference rooms. It was unbelievable. And at the same time, it's a little sad that this many people knew what to do because they've gone through it too many times. We're the attack and all the things that are going on with our law enforcement officers and the people that are attacking them. The poor lady in Davis, who's a new officer, in Provo, Utah, Shreveport, Louisiana, Raleigh, North Carolina. It's just sad to see it all. And a lot of times people will tell us, hey, sorry for your loss, and I have to tell them, no, sorry for all of our losses, because there's a war going on out there, and the light has to shine on the darkness so we can get past it. But going back to my original message, we got a lot of support from the county, city of Ceres, city of Oakdale. There were Oakdale officers on our streets patrolling for us, and the amount of agencies that showed up that night, the support we've gotten from our west side communities of Patterson and Gustine, and everybody that's shown up in this community. This community has been so good to us and to the department. It's been unbelievable. But I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who did anything for us. We're still in the middle of it. It's going to take a long time to get over this. We'll never forget it. But hope in the end, we're going to come out stronger as a community. We're going to plan events that can build off a community and get people being more active and taking back not just our community, but this country, and getting back to it and letting them know that that type of behavior is not going to be tolerated anymore. So that's kind of where we're at. So we'll continue to share with you some of the events that we have planned, and there'll be some that'll be law enforcement, public safety driven, and there'll be other ones that are going to be community driven, but we're going to be doing all that. And we're not going to just do it this year, we're going to do it every year. This is going to be part of our life from now on. Our bubble's been shattered, but that's the world we live in. Now we're going to have to just adjust accordingly, and as a community adjust our lifestyles accordingly. So with that, the only other thing that I had is Allie's not here tonight, but basketball has started back up. So if you're interested, you can catch a basketball game at either Hunt Elementary or the high school on a Saturday morning. So with that, Mayor, I can take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Chief Richardson.
Evening, Mayor, council members. I just want to kind of go along that line. I know Michael Holland and myself have gone to these different places and thanked them personally, but I think we need to thank the city staff too. From our department, the support from this city, the departments within the city has been overwhelming. We didn't know what to do, and that's where the outside agencies guided us through. But the support from the fire department, planning, finance, public works, Michael Holland has been just tremendous. I mean, I could give you a list of names of everybody that's reached out to me, but we would be here till probably 1 o'clock in the morning. There's a reason why I love this community. There's a reason why I stayed and never left. I started here. I hopefully will end here. It's just just telling you guys, the retirement's coming up. But it's a little ways away, so. People ask me why'd you stay? This is why, because it's family. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Well, Chief, we thank you. You represented our city in a way that no other police chief could have ever done, and we thank you for that.
Thank you.
Anyway, Justin, do you have anything for us tonight?
Nothing for you, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything in particular tonight. You should have all received your W-2s. If you haven't got them, let me know and get your copies. Other than that, all of our tax stuff for the city's all done, all been filed.
It's that time of year.
Catherine, do you have anything?
I have a couple of things if I stop crying. So, I went to a Newman Gusting Garden Club meeting, and Michael and I have had a few discussions about starting up a downtown beautification project. And so I went and spoke at the Newman Gusting Garden Club, and they, that day, took action and developed a committee so we can develop a plan that they will agree to, and they're going to come down and start taking care of all our downtown pots. And it'll be a coordinated effort between volunteers, the Public Works and city staff, and then the Newman Gusting Garden Club. And so I'll keep you updated as things develop and tell you a day where I can get you all out there to volunteer to help plant flowers.
Okay.
That's great. Awesome.
Well 10, the contractor should be on site soon to drill that well. And we're waiting for the site to be stable. It's really muddy out there. Thank you for approving well 6. That will proceed tomorrow. I'll be contacting them and getting them to move forward on that. So hopefully they'll be done in the next couple of weeks. We have to go through an intense reapplication process to have our state water permit amended to now identify well 6R as a potable drinking source. And so that requires a lot of testing and approvals from the state. But we'll be working on that as they drill the well, and then we'll pull samples, and then we'll make sure that we're serving potable water, that it's safe for the community. On Thursday, a lot of city staff and other agency staff, other agencies, we will all be out doing a point-in-time count of the homeless population. It's nationwide, not just county or state, it's nationwide. And so we will do our part in Newman and the surrounding area to get a count, and there's a survey that will ask the homeless if they would help us fill out. It's an anonymous survey that we will have the Center for Human Services, the Newman Resource Center staff will be at Pioneer Park, and we'll have goodie bags to hand out if they cooperate, and then there's sometimes some jackets or different things that homeless people might need. What that does is help basically the funding sources know where the resources need to be allocated. And so we want to make sure that we get a really accurate count, so we'll all be helping get that done. And that's all I've got.
That's great. I'm really happy to hear that.
Thank you so much. Good. Keith, do you have anything for us tonight?
Just a couple things. So we just completed another CPR Saturday, so we have 9 more people out there, CPR AED certified. So I'll keep you guys updated. We'll have another one coming in February, so if someone's looking for that class. Tomorrow's blood drive at the fire department, so if you want to come down and give your blood, they'll be happy to take it. The Girl Scouts are going to be coming out on the 25th to do a station visit, so we'll have them down and we'll be greeting them. Also, just so you guys know, I am part of a subcommittee for the West Side Community Ambulance. They're really trying to work on their future and how that's going to develop, so I'm giving our input from a city standpoint. So if there's something you guys would like me to bring up, email me, give me a call, whatever, and I can make sure that's voiced. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
I was really impressed with the people that showed up tonight that
Thank you.
Gave awards to and everything. You have a pretty good group there. They look like they're pretty buff, some of them.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for your support. It does mean a lot. Again, these guys are volunteers, and they do this out of the kindness of their heart for the community, and it's great to be able to bring them up here and show them off to you guys, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, thank you. They don't normally get the visibility, and so having an opportunity to recognize them in a public forum is great, so thanks for bringing them.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
With that, Rick, do you have anything tonight?
Yeah, just a couple things. I'm just going to say thank you to a lot of the same people I already said thank you to. You know, with Corporal Singh, you know, it's a tragic event, and it's a dangerous job, and he served our community, and I appreciate that. You know, the law enforcement agencies that came in and helped the day of, filled in, and then all the agencies that work together, state, federal, and local, to bring the suspect into custody. It's just, you know, it's amazing to see it once it starts all going into process and happening. So thank you to all of them. Again, Stanislaus County, they did an amazing job helping it, you know, the investigation, offering patrol so our guys can do, you know, get the time they needed to process this whole thing. And Modesto Police Department jumped in, and like Michael said, unfortunately, they've gotten good at this, and that's a bad thing. All the city, all the different departments in the city that hopped in, and, you know, all the little things to get the lights blue, you know, it means something. And it was awesome to see that happen. So thank you to all the city staff that worked so hard to get that done on such short notice, to make things like that happen, along with everything else that went on. All the first responders, just not police, that showed up that night. Fire was there. They, you know, they were out there with that, and that's just as tragic for them as it is for us. And, you know, they gotta get passed by on it, but it's hard for a lot of those guys that were out there. Blue Line Wives, they're a group that was out there, an organization, and they did so much stuff, from Candlelight Vigil, they were just everywhere, and that's a group of ladies that are made up of cops' wives or law enforcement, different fields, and they were out there, all the bows that you see everywhere, hours, days, tying those things, and then going out and decorating and arranging the different vigils and that, and those were all ladies that were local here. They did an outstanding job. And then just back to you, Michael, you did a great job organizing, orchestrating everything. And Chief, you did an outstanding job, both. I mean, this was national. You were on the news everywhere, and you represented our city very well. So that's appreciated. And I guess that one of the biggest thing is, it's hard to say, but sorry for your loss and your department's loss and your guys' loss. And as a city, we're here for them. And nothing can be said but the biggest sacrifice of all is Officer Singh and his family, his sacrifice to our community. And we've already started talking about there'll be stuff to remember him as we go down the line. That's all I had.
Roy, do you have any?
First of all, let me mention that I had a three-day conference up to Sacramento, where all of the new elected officials and sitting officials have come together, councilmen and mayors from all across the state of California. I had the opportunity at one point to address the audience, and I thanked them for their prayers all across this state and the country. And at that point, you know, they start clapping when I mentioned, you know, I was from Newman. But in saying that, and meeting some of the people who came up to me, they're saying, for, you know, the prayers that they prayed for the city of Newman, and I thanked them for it. But I just want to say that we are a very blessed city. We're resilient. We have a chief that basically, and I mentioned to him that he's the pulse of this community. And we look in terms of your leadership in that department. And that means a lot for us, for our city. And therefore, I just want to let City Manager Mike and Chief Randy, that you have represented this city to the point where all across this nation, people are applauding this city in terms of how we have handled ourselves. And I take my hat off to both of you. And I'm very proud to be a Newmanite. That's all.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I hop on one more thing real quick? The way our community, our businesses in our community came together, I wanted to thank all those people. I mean, you can see the support up and down the street, the actual community itself, and the support it showed, and the support, I mean, just drive down the street right now, and you can see all the support out there. It is overwhelming, and it makes me proud to be part of this community and to live here.
I hear you. Nick?
Yeah, I know a call went out, I don't know if it was from the Blue Line Women or not, or but a call went out to the local women in Newman to come help. We got big response. It's great.
Yeah. Thank you, Nick.
I was out of town when all this came down. The family had planned a trip to Texas for Christmas, and we were there enjoying family and heard the tragic news. Everywhere I went, a lot of places you have to show an ID, you know, because I'm a senior, I need all that stuff. And so they would look at the ID, oh, you're from Newman. Oh, we heard about that. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. And that was from relatives, but it was businesses and just people that we would meet in various places. I was in San Antonio and had the opportunity to talk to two bicycle officers who were performing their duties on the street, keeping order, and I went over and I said, I just want to shake your hand. I'm not at home, but I want to shake your hand because I can't hold those guys at home. And they said, yeah, we heard about it. We've got a network of police officers that's nationwide, and it went out over the network, and they knew about it. They said, our department supports your department, and we support you and your city, and our thoughts and prayers are with you. Randy, you did a fantastic job of representing our city. I know it wasn't easy for you. It's not easy for any of us. But you did a fantastic job, and people commented on, wow, that's a nice, great young police chief you've got there, and he represents your city so well. We're so proud of you. We're so proud of our entire city. And as everyone said, we're proud to be from Newman.
Let's all not forget about the loss of our mayor, too.
That's true.
The only comment I'd make after the tragedy, you know, no matter who you talk to in the city, they were in tune. They knew what was going on, and their hearts were broken. And it was just devastating to see a whole city like that. So often it happens in a larger city, and it's just part of the community is affected. But this whole community was affected by it. And of course, we're so proud of those people that stepped up, like the chief and the city manager and everyone else that did their part, first responders. And anyway, got us through a difficult time. And anyway, with that, I thank everyone for...
Could I mention one last thing, Mayor, is that your loss was a great loss to us. Rita was like family to me, and she will forever be in my heart. And I want you to know that personally.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's difficult. I just lost my wife, and anyway, it's hard, but it's just a fact of life, you know. If you're born, you're going to die at some point, you know, and there's the right way to do it and the wrong way, you know. And so, anyway, I thank you for that, and anyway. With that, I'm going to ask for adjournment.
So move.
Okay, motion's made and second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.